We learned stub, which prevents type 4 and 5 getting inside. We learned totally stub, which prevents type 3, 4, and 5. And we saw the things to remember if you're configuring this two stub. I repeat, only if you are doing these two stub. This is not rule for NSSA. These rules are not for NSSA or totally NSSA. These rules are only for this two. See, you need ASBR in NSSA. You remember? We need an ASBR, but here it says no ASBR. This is not for NSSA. This is not for not so stub area. It's only for these two stub. And then we also configured and we saw this lab. Afterwards, we went into this topic. This is what we saw in the previous class, but we have not done the lab. We need to do the lab. But before that, I want to explain you this one and the next one. Afterwards, we'll get into the lab. Not so stub area will have external routes. Then why are you calling it as stub area? We learn external route not from type 5. That is why it is stub area. Stub area will not have type 5. If type 5 is denied, then external also should be denied, but I see external network, the RIP networks. How is that possible? This ASBR, which is also an NSSA router, NSSA is in this area, this side. So this router converts type 5 into type 7. Because of this type 7 update, I am able to receive external. I have external, but I don't have type 5. That is why it is not so. I have external, but I don't have type 5, so it is stubby. Not so stub area. And we were trying to understand in what circumstances, in what network design this is needed. We need this only if you have more than one ASBR. Let's go to the lab and design the topology first. If you see this topology, we have two ISP. These networks are available in OSPF from this ASBR as well as from this ASBR. This is also an ASBR. And you prefer from area 1000 to go this path. If router 4 is trying to go to 7777, you don't want this path. You want this path. But unfortunately, what router 4 will do, you know, router 4 will take this path. Why? Only one is the cost here. And redistribution metric, let's say you say 3 here, here also you say 3. For router 4 to go here, it is 3 plus 1 plus 1, 4. sorry, 5. When you redistribute, if you say E1, path cost will be added. It is 5. Whereas going this way, it is only 3 plus 1, 4. So this router will go this way, which you don't like. Not only that router, if the cost is high, say for example, because of some bandwidth, here the cost is 10, here the cost is 1, here the cost is 1. So even router 5 will, no, not router 5, router 6, router 4, everything will go this way only, which is not good. Why? Because it is using your own resource. It is using your own bandwidth. Your routers are already busy. But when there is a path outside this way, it is taking this path, consuming the bandwidth here, consuming the CPU here, consuming the bandwidth again, consuming the CPU, and goes out. Likewise, the return traffic. You prefer to exit from all these routers, you prefer to exit this way. You don't want area 1000 to go via area 0 when the cost is 10 here. You still prefer, though cost is high, you do not want OSPF to consider going via area 0. You don't want your OSPF to consider, should not consider. You expect this exit. For that only we configure not so stub area. When we do this, automatically this type 5 coming from here will be denied. So this router will not know I have this path. It will not know. It will not know. All the routers here will know only this path. And this router knows from here as well as from here. I told you, this type 7 LSA will be converted back to type 5 when it crossed the border. Don't forget those things. If possible, go through the video which we uploaded if you have any confusion. All right. Now, we are going to test this before we go to the next lab. We are going to test this. So, what about totally not so stub area? If you do not want type 3, they have not clearly mentioned here. I'm telling you, okay, sorry, this is the NSSA. This is NSSA. Here you see, not so stubby area. We learn not so stub area will deny 4 and 5 coming in from outside the area, and local ASBR will be sending us type 7. We saw that. When you put not so stub area totally stubby, even type 3 will not be allowed. You remember I told you in the beginning, wherever you see totally, it is Cisco proprietary. This is Cisco proprietary special network type in OSPF. Same like totally stub. For not so stubby area, totally stub also, you need to just put one word In every router, you put this one. In every router inside, you put this one. Area 1 is not so stub area. You do that. And only on ABR, you see, area 0 is there. This is area 1, which means this is ABR. Only on ABR, you include this keyword, no summary. Same like what you did for totally stub. In totally stub also, it did not allow 3, 4, and 5. Here also, it is not allowing 3, 4, and 5. Then what is the difference between totally stub and not so stubby totally stub? The difference is here, you still have an external route. In totally stub, you don't have a chance of external route. Here, not so stubby area, totally stubby, has got external type 7. So external networks are available. In totally stub, no external routes. That's the difference. In totally stub also, these three are denied. And there is no type 7 in totally stub. In not so stub area, we have type 7. And you add a totally stub, that makes type 3 also not to enter. So your routing table now, what will it have? What will it contain? It contains local network and the external type 7 network. For all rest of the autonomous system, you may have many areas. Area 10, area 20, area 30. For all that, you will have a default route dynamically injected. So your routing table will have only the local and external type 7. You will not have inter area, you will not have type 5 external. Right? Did you get the difference between all this 4 stub? I'm going to ask you a question. Before that, I give you a chance. Do you have any question to ask me? Because I'm going to ask you a question. If you ask me a question, I'll explain. Afterwards, I can ask you a question. Okay. Asking question. What is the difference between totally stub and not so totally stub? Anyone? Try to keep it very simple answer. What is the difference between totally stub and not so stubby area totally stub? What is the difference between these two? Not so stub area, we will have type 3 and type 7. Not so stubby area, totally stub, we will have type 7, but no type 3, type 4, type 5. Good. Very nice. This is what I was expecting. You kept it very simple. Very nice. Okay. Now someone answer me, what is the difference between totally stub and not so stub area totally stub? What is the difference between totally stub and not so stub area totally stub? Not so stubby area, totally stubby area, like in the routers in that area, will have only type 1, type 2, and type 7. And you will have a default route given to you as type 3. Yeah? So that's the difference. Totally stub will have, if it is totally stub area, it will have 1, 2, and a default route as let's say type 3. Default route is, let's say, type 3. When you say not so stubby totally stub area, you will have 1, 2, and 7, and a default route. When you simply say not so stub area, what you will have? When you simply say not so stub area, here you will have 1, 2, 3, and 7. And you will not have any default route. If you want default route, you can manually configure the default information originate always command. Hope you remember that command, which will generate a default route. Okay. So this is what we need to do as a lab